You good to go?
Yep, I'm good.
Okay, it's running. I had signal and so on. Okay. I'm bugging. Peace, brother. Make sure you take care of the damn.
So homework 4 is posted. You can just simply subscribe the 08723A4 channel.
Make sure we don't have
And
the
you
same
get to
problem
see
as last time.
the 15 team projects. So there's a link. I posted on Piazza as well as Blackboard, so you can get to see.
Get it stuck to his block. Where's it on? Probably
You don't need to, you just watch the YouTube and then there's a couple of questions.
Yeah, that looks good.
4 themes you can follow and then you can just submit one page per theme. So it's easy and go easy.
Yeah.
But
They don't make it easy, huh?
okay. Because one of our judges, she couldn't make Tuesday, and she will evaluate you through the video session. But here she is. Welcome, Jiayu, to our class. Why don't you introduce yourself?
When you got this, hit dock camera whenever you're ready to use that. Who's speaking?
Yes.
Whoever is best.
Thank you. And Justin here too.
Do you want to do the demo or should I do it?
Doesn't matter.
Each team will present
You can do it.
8
Okay.
minutes.
You know how to
We're gonna
play with
have
it.
2 minutes
Yeah.
Q&A.
I use it on my phone. I assume it's the same.
Okay. Or I can do it. It's my phone.
So each team would have 10 minutes.
Why don't you
presentation
do the
and
actual,
Q&A.
I'll do the whole presentation, then my last slide just says demo time, and then
Okay.
I'll let you show them how to do it.
Two, so starting from 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 15. Yes. We do have 8 teams today.
Did I get the names right? Did I spell everything right? Okay.
Oh, please. During the each team's presentation, can you guys just keep quiet?
I
and
looked it
listen
up
to
in
them? Because
the
this is
directory, the
only
Carnegie Mellon
opportunity
directory.
You can learn from your classmates. So hope this is great for everyone.
Are,
Thank you.
are we ready to start?
I'm going to present team 2.
So we're ready to go? Okay. So my name is Sean Blackburn. I'm here to tell you a little bit about Stash, which is our location-based sharing application. And I think I'm going to be doing pretty much the presentation, then one of my teammates will take over and I do the actual demo at the end. So there was a specific problem that we were trying to solve, a specific use case that we wanted to work with. What we noticed was that right now it's really easy to share information, photos, files with people that you already have networks with. If you're already connected with them on Facebook, or you already have their email address, or you have some other connection with them, it's very easy to share information with them, right? You can send them an email, you can send a file to them. But what's still difficult is sharing information based on other criteria. For example, you're all here in the room with me. I would love to be able to make available my slides or my code or our application to you. But in order to do that, I have to give you a URL that you type in, or I'd have to get all of your email addresses and then send it out. But we're still sharing something in common. So we wanted to create an application that bridged that gap. We saw that there was a lot of different use cases. I put a few of them up there. Some of them are fun, just sharing photos. Geocaching is a term that's been around for a long time, where you can hide something and leave people directions on how to get there. They can come find it. But there's also productivity reasons. Being able to leave, like I mentioned, the slides at a presentation, leave your resume at a job fair, and set an expiration time on it. Those were the types of things that we were trying to solve. So our application, there were several features that we really wanted to do, but it's actually pretty simple. You can leave stuff in a location. You can set an expiration time when it will, for how long it will be available there, and then other people that come to that location can find it and access the data. You'll probably notice there's some similarities to one of the applications presented yesterday. I believe it was Team 9 with their picture sharing app. It's pretty similar to that, but we take a really different spin on it. Ours isn't based on likes and votes, though we may at some point integrate that in order to do ranking. If there's a lot of things in one place, you may want to sort on the more popular ones. We also did run into a couple of hurdles, which I'll talk about a little bit later in the lessons learned, but it kept us from implementing all of the features. Due to some of the limitations of certain platforms, we weren't able to get the full file sharing in, so we reverted back to being able to just put in a URL. So you can actually upload your file to something like Dropbox, post the URL into Stash, and then it'll show up and you can click on it and download it from the other service. As for our architecture, we looked at doing it in the native libraries, but we really wanted to try out some of the cross-platform tools. We looked at the one at Corona that we talked about in class. It's really focused on gaming, so most of the tools and the cloud APIs were around syncing high scores and things like that, and it didn't really do what we needed. We found an Appcelerator, which is a cross-platform tool that lets you deploy, supposedly, you can write code once, it's in JavaScript, and then you can deploy it to Android, iPhone, Windows, to web applications. We found some problems with that, which I'll once again talk about later, but still it seemed pretty compelling. It also had a really nice cloud system built in, so we didn't need to go out and integrate with Google's cloud services or Amazon AWS. It was all built in. It would do file storage, it would do databases, it would do account management with just a couple lines of JavaScript, which sounds amazing. Our design rationale was to keep it very simple. We wanted to have two tabs where the user can see where they are on a map. They can see pinpoints showing the actual locations of other stashed items. If there's a lot, they can switch over to a list view and then see them all listed out for them so that it's easy to discern which is the one they want to download. And then URLs will just open in the browser. We're hoping that eventually we'll be able to integrate with things like Dropbox or other services to add in the file uploading capabilities that I talked about. I mentioned that there were some lessons learned. The biggest one is that Appcelerator turns out to be absolute trash. It just didn't work as advertised. The overarching idea was that we could write code once in JavaScript and it would run everywhere, but we found that there were certain features that were only implemented on iPhone or only on Android, or they would only work on one or the other, or they would work in very different ways. So our code ended up completely peppered with if iPhone then do this, or if Android then do that, which in my mind really breaks down the primary reason that you would use something like this. We also found just a lot of bugs where the documentation would say, hey, it's going to work this way, and then it didn't. Or times where the documentation would say, this isn't implemented, and we'd try it out, and it turns out it was. Some of that was because the documentation was out of date. Some of it was because the documentation was incomplete, so we were going off of forum posts. So all in all, I don't recommend Appcelerator. I don't think that it's a good direction to go. I'd look at some of the other platforms out there. And then the other one is that Apple's iOS turned out to have some real limitations around being able to upload files. We really wanted you to be able to select a presentation and just upload it to the service. Apple doesn't give you that capability. You can't just select a file that's on the file system and upload it. And that's where we would have needed to integrate with Dropbox, and we just ran out of time to do that. So we found that there were some limitations with iOS that weren't really conducive for what we wanted to do. So we're going to switch over to the demo now. Let me give you the microphone and show you how it works.
Okay. Thanks, Sean.
Then what do we push here?
Okay. Next, I'm gonna show a demo to you guys. Our application is Stash, and you can see the beautiful icon here. Yeah. Then this is the first screen, and then we need to sign in first. Yeah. Okay, let's sign up first. For the username, you can do whatever you want. So let's try this one. Email, you can tap whatever you want. First name, last name, password. It can be anything. And the role, you can just ignore this field. It represents something else. After sign up, this is our main page. As you can see, we hold on. Oh, sorry, I turned off the GPS. Okay. First. Let's log in first.
While he's logging in, it's worth pointing out that the actual login page functionality is part of Accelerator. We like that, and we could just say, hey, do a login page here and handle the account, and it does it for you. So that was pretty nice.
Okay, I just turn on the GPS so you can see our location right here. And then I can create a stash here. So here's a message, whatever you want. So, okay, this new message. And then I can set the expire date and time. So you can see there's no way to select invalid date, but you can set it to tomorrow, same time, doesn't matter, and I can post. And see post successfully. And you can see a small flag there. Not sure if you can see it. And then if I click this flag, you can see there's a short message. And if you click this one, you will see the details. The message created by me, and then created at the date and time. And you can even see the distance. That means where the message is left. How far is it from me? You can see this is 0 meter, right? Because it's here. And then the list view, you can see this is a new message. And if you click this one, you will see the same panel, same view. You can even create a hyperlink. So I can say, haha, and then put a hyperlink, HTTP. www.google.com. Okay, so set the time 1 hour. Okay, post, and you will see this one here. And then if you click this one, it's clickable, so you can just press this link and it opens the browser and go to google.com. Yes, pretty nice. So go back here. Okay. So basically, it's our demo. So our next step will implement the file sharing functionality. As Sean said, we were intended to implement this function, but as you know, iOS doesn't provide a built-in functionality to enable this feature. We can now use the built-in file explorer to select a file. So we'll consider to integrate Dropbox within our into our app to enable this feature. Yeah. Thank you.
That's it. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Yep.
Just one clarification question. So all the sharing, all the notes are public, right?
Yes.
Yep. Anyone that's within, I think right now it's set to 100 meters, so they have to be fairly close. But yeah, anyone that's there can get them.
Right. If you leave a message outside in front of the washroom, you can see this message, and distance could be 10 meters, and yeah, you can see the details.
So there is no way that if I want to leave something to a specific person?
No, because that's not the use case we were going for. At the beginning, I was talking about how it's already easy to share something with a specific person.
Because at the beginning, you're talking about job fair. In the
Sure.
job fair, I don't want to share my contact information to everyone. I only target to certain recruiter. So that's why in this case, there has some kind of limitation.
Sure. Yeah, and that is not one that that's not a use case we took into account. I would say that normally if I go to job fair, if every recruiter wants to get my resume, I would say, sure, every recruiter can get my resume. And if there's a specific one that I want to share it with, I'd probably get their business card and share it with them directly.
But if this feature is really necessary, we can easily integrate to our app because we have a sign up, sign in, permission, those kind of things. Accounts. Yeah.
One technology question. Why didn't you consider OAuth in Dropbox?
Because we used cloud backend, the ACS, the cloud Titanium Cloud Access Service.
Yeah.
Cloud.
Accelerator Cloud Services.
Cloud Service. Yeah. So the sign in, sign out page is for that one.
And really, by the time that we saw that it would be advantageous for us to integrate with something like Dropbox, this was just a couple of days ago, and we were out of time. So
yeah.
we were working on building the functionality, and then when we saw that there were barriers, it was a little too late in the process.
At the time we integrate Dropbox, we have to use OAuth because it will help us to access all those kind of services.
Yep. It's on our to-do list.
Where articulate the problems and design rationale is awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to write T4.
Hello everyone, we are Team 4. The name of our project is Augmented Reality Events. And here is the agenda of today's presentation. Firstly, let me talk about the product overview. Our application is an event application which can gather the nearby events based on the user's preference. And our application, unlike other applications, it allows the user to see the events through the augmented reality technology. And we also integrate several social frameworks so that the user can share the events with his friends. And our application is quite simple and easy to use and fun to the user. Now let me illustrate the key features of our application to you. As you can see, this is the first screen of our application. On this screen, it acts as a filter for the user to filter the events nearby based on their preference. So you can see they can input the keywords and tap the distance and date and also choose the category of the event. And once the user clicks the next button, here comes the event list page of our application. And on this page, it displays a list of the resulted events from the user's preference. And once the user clicks the AR button on the top right side of the screen, here it initializes the augmented reality function of our application. And in the augmented reality page, it displays events and shows the event details. And once the user clicks the bubble in the AR page, here comes the detailed information of each event. And on this page, we show the title of the event, the address of the event, as well as the start time of the event. And once the user clicks the Navigate with Map button, and our application initializes the map, which can navigate the user to the address of the event. And the user can also share this event with his friends on Facebook. And also, he can add this event to the calendar so that he won't miss it. And now let me talk about the architecture of our project. As you can see, our application works like a media for different APIs to communicate with each other to provide the user a better user experience. And for the APIs that we use are Eventful and Facebook and Mixer, ARKit, as well as Google Maps and Apple Map. Now let me talk about the lesson that we've learned. For the iOS part, we learned how to customizing the provided iOS user interface objects in the Xcode, and we also learned how to parse the JSON in the iOS, and we also learned how to integrate the external libraries like the Facebook Maps and ARKit together in one application. Now let me invite my teammate Sita to talk about the Android part as well as the live demo. I'm sorry.
So basically with the Android version, there were a few things that we learned, which was using Eventful API, obviously. That's the API that we use for the events. Following Android usability guidelines was a big issue because it's not as simple to use Android, making Android usable as it is for iOS. Facebook integration was another big issue, and we learned to get across that. And most importantly, using the Mixer augmented reality engine. So I'll go into the live demo right now. The thing with the live demo is we're doing a video instead because it's much easier to show the functionality of our augmented reality outside using GPS, and it makes more sense. So here, I'm a first-time. Can you go back? Yeah. So I'm new to, like, I'll just go through like the scenario. So let's say I'm new to Pittsburgh, and I have one day to go to any event of my choice, and I want to choose something related to food. So I go to my AR Events app. I find that the maximum distance I'm willing to travel is 20 miles. And I'm looking for something today, and the category is food. So I click on Next. And I find a list of all the events, but I have no idea where all these events are. So instead, I launch an AR view. so that I can find where these events are. So it takes a minute. So. So there I see one event, but that's not something I'm interested in. I see Austrian wine class, and that's something that's cool. So I look at the details. It starts today. So I want to actually go to this event. So I go back to my list. I add this to my calendar. So I create an event. I add it. And then it's added to my thing. I also want to share it with my friends because that would be more fun to go with friends. So I can also add location, but I didn't show that in this. So now it's shared with friends. And then once the time comes and I actually want to navigate to the event, I can navigate with map. Okay, and that's it. I can also show like the Android UI that we have. Okay, I don't know.
So which one should I?
The
No,
UI
it's
is
not
different. Yeah. But I can't show the augmented reality in this yet, but I can show you the...
Can we turn on? Okay.
I have to turn the light on. Oh, okay. Whoa, that's like...
Make it brighter.
Okay. Display. Make it brighter.
If you hit iris, left button on iris to make it brighter. On the document panel.
Oh.
It's on the right-hand side, on the actual thing.
This. Ah. Okay. I think you can see it now. Okay. So I'm going to go to my app. And then I can search for the event. Let's say I just want to find something today. Search for it. So there's a bunch of events. So let's say I want to go to this one. And then I want to share this event with my friends. So I can share with my friends, and I can show you that it's updated. But, and I can do the same thing. I can navigate by map. And it'll give me... That's it.
Oh, okay. That's all. Do you have any questions?
Just a quick one. So why the color scheme of the two UI design considerations?
So with the iOS, it's usually like normal to use the inbuilt colors and all of that, which it's usually like a lighter theme. With Android, you generally see like a darker side theme. I'm not sure why. I just followed like the similar pattern and did that, but there's no specific reason for that. Once we like figure out like more about the functionality and exactly how we want to present to the user, we're going to like sync the colors basically.
Because the color scheme is part of the brand of your application. So
Right.
if your developer choose to have similar color scheme and even in different platforms.
Yeah.
So I just wonder if they're, it's okay. And another question is, what's the advantages of using the AR technology in this use case?
Because we are assuming the user is not familiar with those kind of area, like when we first been to Boston, so we need to check around. And another use case is that when the user like finish their class and they need to find some free food, and so they just check around, and they can even invite friends on Facebook, so their friends will get a notification and maybe just call them to go to some food event.
So you assume the user is very close to the event?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like there's been when we were doing user studies and when we were doing our research, we found that there are no, like for example with Eventful, which is what I'm using, there's no currently existing Eventful Android application. So creating something that calls Eventful that was something that we wanted to do with Android. And the other thing is there's no existing AR related event application. And we found that Yelp Monocle, which does the same thing, is like it helps mainly users that are visitors in new places. So that's the kind of audience that we're trying to target.
Okay, so how to post events on your system?
These are events that are already like.
Yeah, but they don't have the augmented reality stuff, right?
Yeah.
You need to input it specifically.
So Eventful is the web service
No.
provider.
Yeah, because those events are all coming from the API of eventful.com. Yeah, so we just collect the latitude and longitude from eventful.com, which they provide kind of.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm gonna invite Tim.
So, I'm sorry, I'm ready, as seen on the presentation. So our game's called Trajectory Wars, and the idea kind of came like, we took the best-selling mobile game, and we added to it, and then we made it a tank instead of a bird. So if you're not familiar, Angry Birds, very popular game, made a lot of money. Goal of this is to make some money. But we took the idea like, you can only shoot the birds, or the pigs or whatever they are, but why can't they shoot back? So our product starts, we have motivation from both the developer and the user. So the developer, basically, as I just said, that games are now the most popular app category, and they also account for highest revenues, and then app downloaders are the most willing to pay for games, whether it's in-game content or the actual game. They have a freemium model, which is you get the game for free, but you have to pay for achievements, and that's making developers a ton of money. For the users, it's really easy to play. It's fun. You can show off to your friends, like, look, I got this high score. As we see everyone playing Farmville on Facebook thinks that I really care how high of a score they got, so we do that too. And you can unlock achievements, and we'll show that in the demo. So the rules are simple. Players take turns shooting. They can't shoot at the same time simply because, we'll get to that. Objects are at the mercy of physics, so we use the Corona SDK's physics plugin, and we'll see that too. And to win, basically, you just have to hit your opponent twice. So some features include single player, multiple levels. For this demo, we only implemented one level, but there is the ability to do two. Social connect, so once you're done, if you win the game, you can, or even if you lose, you can post your score. And then a cloud dashboard, which allows us to show achievements and leaderboards. This is nice just to keep track of where you are in the game. So let's take a look at our system architecture. You can see in the core of our SDK, the core of our system is the Corona SDK, which is shown by the icon. And what this allowed us to do is it has built-in physics, easy Facebook integration, cloud services, and it enabled an enhanced and consistent UI between both iOS and Android. So you can also see that the Corona Cloud has a ton of features. Which includes, you can do chat, multiplayer, your social connect, leaderboards. And then for developers, it really helps to have analytics. So, how many people are using your game? What achievements are they reaching? And that's important because, what if you made a level too hard? You'll know because nobody's making it to that level. So it's really good feedback to make a game better. For this demo, we really just implemented the news, which you can push. So, if you push an update, you can check the news, and it'll say Trajectory Wars updated. We did leaderboards, and actually we didn't do leaderboards. We did achievements. And then we have Facebook, where, as I said before, you can just post your high score to it. So the question, why did we use Corona? Well, simple answer, life's too short to develop games cross-platform. It takes a lot of time. You have to build graphics for both. Android has 30 different screen sizes. And iOS has, your Retina, non-Retina. It has really resourceful APIs and a good community support. So anything we didn't know about APIs, we could either Google or post on the forums and get an answer relatively quick. Social integration, like we've talked about, Facebook, it's there. You can post some scores. You can do other things. And consistent user experience. This is the biggest one because phones are changing so fast. And if you have iOS now, but you want to play on an Android phone because you think it's better or whatever, it'll be the same game. There's no new learning curve. So you learn it once, you can play it anytime. Some technical challenges that we face is that you can't use native APIs. So this kind of limits the functionality of the game. But it's one of the trade-offs you make for developing fast in any situation. The simulator does not support testing of social apps. So this is kind of interesting that if you run the game in the simulator, you can't post your score to Facebook. So we didn't really know it was working or not until after we pushed it to a device. It kind of takes a lot of time to keep building the app and then pushing it, especially if you're doing it on iOS because it's a painful process. Leaderboards are limited to Corona's development, so we really tried to implement this, but Corona's cloud feature is actually really new. A lot of documents just came out for it, and the leaderboards aren't really ready for prime time yet, so we couldn't push a high score to the actual leaderboards. And this is my favorite. Graphics design is no joke. You have to make images. You have to make every image twice, one for non-Retina, one for Retina. And then you have to make images if it's a button. You have to make the image if it was pressed so it looks visually appealing. You'll see it in our demo. And then, yeah, you're always thinking about the proper dimensions of each image. Is it going to be 4:3, 16:9 for a background? But Corona does a really good job of helping us scale to the devices, as I said before. So it was one reason we chose it. And the iPhone 5 is another pain. Basically, it's very, very unique, and I don't think Corona supports scaling backgrounds for it properly yet. So we would have to, once we compile our app as an Xcode project, we would then have to add the special requirements for iPhone 5 in Xcode. So some of the lessons we learned is about game theory, as any game involves. The Adobe Suite, we had to get familiar with Illustrator and Photoshop really fast to make some images. Quick disclaimer, we're not graphic designers, so they're not going to be the prettiest things, but they work for our situation. We learned how to use Corona, the SDK. You have to learn a new language. It's called Lua, but it's very easy to learn. We picked it up pretty quickly, and then there's good community support, as I said. Device variation, as I said, tons of screens, tons of devices, but luckily Corona has a way of handling it. Cloud and Facebook integration, so you have to make sure you have the right files, the right API calls. With Facebook integration on Android, you need a certain key to post to Facebook. And physics is not fun. You know how they always said in high school physics is fun with the pH? Yeah, it's not fun. We had to do a lot of geometry and figuring out where to launch things using cosine, tangent, and I forgot all that in 8th grade, so that wasn't cool. All right, let's take a look at what we got. I guess we'll use the document projector.
You'll see it. Yeah. So let's have a look at the game. Here we have
A wonderful graphic design, thank you.
Yeah. So we select a level to play, and here we go. We have two tanks. The one on the left is you, and the one on the right is CPU. We had to design an AI algorithm to shoot back automatically. So you'll see that in a moment. So what do you want me to do? Miss or a hit for the first time?
Yes.
I mean, a hit? I mean, I've been doing this for quite some time, and I'm an expert now.
You want to the sound?
Yeah.
So yeah, one other thing is we had to integrate some sounds.
Yeah.
Just, as the experience.
So what next? You have to hit it twice. We already did once. Let's hit the mountain. Now. So the score gets updated, and the AI thing is pretty accurate. It's always going to shoot you. You can also move the tank. Sorry. There was a mistake. Yeah. We better win. Yeah. Yeah, you can post this on Facebook. You can replay it. Yeah, so it'll say you scored just 2,000. Let's post it on Facebook. I'm already logged in. It says successfully posted to Facebook. I can show it to you on my phone.
Yeah, I can show it on the computer.
I have it. It's reloading. It says, yeah, just scored Facebook. And it says just now. So, yeah. So let's move on to our other functionalities. If we move on, we have a cloud feature. We save everything, the achievements, and if the developers want to push something new, we also have it on the news feed. I was already logged in, and here we have. So this is all integrated with the Corona Cloud, and we have the achievements. It says view dashboard, open game, and beat level 1. You all have that. I mean, you get that once you play.
And I can push like news articles to it. So let's say what the time is. 12. Good. Okay.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
No problem.
So what, it's very good.
Yeah. Thank you.
What, do you have any strategies for making it more like interesting to play?
Yeah, we actually thought of it like we'll have lives, like lifelines that you can say, that you can hit on it, like it'll create a shield for you while the opponent can shoot you and stuff like that. But like in a limited time frame, it was all too much for us, like because getting into the, so if you see this code, it's always a game loop that is always going on in the process, and that's what we learned in the game theory. And the other thing we thought of was different kinds of bullets. Like what you have now is just one, but we'll allow the user to select different kinds of bullets. Like if you might have seen in the cartoons, like you shoot one bullet and it hits 5 times. So something like that.
You said you could move the tank, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, it's not too much, but
You should show it.
yeah, if you want to see it again.
Another thing is like we would ideally have lives for both players.
Yeah, and the thing is, we also have, like, if you get a phone call, the game, and this is, we also thought of a multiplayer thing where you can play online, but that was one thing we could not implement it, so we had to create an AI algorithm to shoot back. So it'll take your coordinate and shoot wherever you are, so it's gonna be perfect.
No, that's not in the due date. You can apply the student collection.
Okay. So that's what we had.
Great job. Team 8. By the way, it was fun demo.
Okay, hello everyone. We are Team 8. Today we are going to present you our products called XOXO. Yeah, firstly, let me introduce something basic about our products. In brief, it's a classic game, tic-tac-toe, on mobile platforms. And of course, we do add some features to make it better. Something like we react the Bluetooth technology to it so that the users can play with their friends other than just play with the artificial intelligence. So, and moreover, we do integrate the Facebook API into our application so that the user can show off the achievement of these games anytime, anywhere, as long as the network condition is good enough for them to connect to the Facebook. So let's talk about our architecture, system architecture. So for iOS, we set up a cloud database on the Google App Engine, which helps us to record the user data and make them consistent across platforms. And as you can see here, we use Cocos 2Ds to help us to develop the graphical stuff. And for the Android, we use a similar system architecture, but in this case, we didn't use the Cocos 2Ds. We just used some simple codes to draw the basic graphic for our apps. So when we talk about the technical challenges, the first one would be how to manage the data across platform. And as I mentioned before, we used Google App Engine to solve it. So let's talk about the second one. The second one is about how to distinguish the three levels of the AI. So here is our simple but useful solution. For the easy mode, the AI will move randomly, and for the medium mode, the AI would do random mode and the logical mode alternative. And for the hard mode, all the movement of the AI would be totally logical. So that's how we solve these challenges. And about the third one is about our performance. So we do try something to optimize our consumption of the resource, something like memories, batteries, and the processor. So for example, in Android platform, we use shared preference instead of synchronized to reduce the memory usage. Okay, in the development process, we do learn some tips. Like in the iOS platform, we learn how to use the account and the social libraries to use the Facebook information very easily, and we also learn how to use Bonjour to achieve a very seamless and stable connection between devices. And for Android, there are some cautionary steps we have to remember when we are working with Bluetooth. Something like it's better to cancel discovery before we make a connection, because performing discovery would significantly reduce the bandwidth available for a connection. So we better stop the discovery before we make a connection or while we already hold a connection. Another one is we should always call the close method to clean up the internal resources when we are done with the Bluetooth socket. Okay, so the next is demo times. Basil will handle this.
Okay. So this is our application. So we're going to register right now.
So when we get in, we have different features like single player, double player, and statistic, and also the well-known help, and another feature that allows to have sound or not. Let's put it on. So when we choose single player, we have the option of creating nicknames or another information for each one of the players. In this case, I'm going to leave it empty. Oh, well, let's see. Okay, then I can choose like difficulty, easy, medium, or hard, and who make the first move, like X, O, or randomly. Let's try easy and X first. So when we go inside, I can start. Sorry, the sound. Okay. So it is a tie game. As you can see, I can win the game here. It's an easy mode. If you choose hard, you can see that he blocked my move here, so I'm blocking his move, and then I block it again, and is smarter than before. No? So after this, we can see the other functionality that is double player for this. Register a new one. Okay, so we go to double player. As well, we can choose nicknames. So we start. I accept. So we can start playing. And as we can see, Abdullah won in this time. So we go back. And well, we also have the statistics part. Like we can show all the scores of the persons, and we can choose to post it on Facebook. So we go back, and well, and the help part, like the Commonwealth part. So we can go now and check Facebook, and double check that. Is everything there? So yeah, here it is. So, oh, sorry. Well, is there? Okay, yeah. So, well, basically, to talk a little about all the challenge, to share the information in the runtime, we create a single pattern. We also make the asynchronous call to the cloud. And, well, this was another of the technical challenge to add what Alvin said. So, thank you very much. Speaking first.
Okay. Hello?
It's clear, sure. There you go.
Hello?
It's not a room mic.
Oh, okay. Hello everyone, this is T10. Today I will introduce our mobile application LoveVolt, which is to help with one's decision-making process. These are the things I'm going to talk about in today's presentation. And first, I will go through a product overview. Our mobile application is based on the image sharing and the social interaction. The problem we are going to solve is quite interesting and practical in real life. Imagine the time that you have a difficulty in making a decision, especially between similar choices. For example, when you are doing shopping and you want to buy a pair of shoes, but you have several candidates. So you cannot decide which pair of shoes you'd like to take back home. And in certain scenario, especially for girls, to pick out a right dress for dating is very important, but really a headache. So our application is supposed to be the decision and the function advisor to improve the decision-making process. Next, the feature and the user benefits. Our application works well on the iPhone iOS 6 or higher, or the Android 2.3 and higher. Then the what the user can play with our application on things like create a new vote. When the user creates a new vote, he can upload 2 to 4 images instead of typing a lot of text as options which he wants other users to vote for or help him make a decision. The user can do both, taking a photo or select an image from the album. Then after naming the caption, the user can just post the vote and wait for the result. What's more, the user can browse all votes and vote for the that particular one he is interested in. And in the My Vote function, the user can easily find his own vote and check the result. About application architecture, we use the private server and cloud web service to store our image and maintain the data. In the mobile client, we implement call functions. We use the list view manager to control the display of our voted list, and we use cache manager to organize the image data in the list. And then the connection manager is mainly responsible for the connecting with the private server and the web cloud service. The technical challenge we met during our development are quite clear. First is data maintenance and storage. We mainly use the cloud service, the AWS S3, to store our image because of its stability and good performance for handling high frequent access. And secondly, to handle large size of the image data is quite the biggest challenge for us. Our application mainly focuses on image transmission and the image interaction, so large size of image data will affect our the performance of transmission and image display. So our solution is to resize and compress image before upload to the cloud. Then we learn a lot from this project. The first thing, we learn how to integrate with cloud service. We use the AWS S3 cloud service to store the image and maintain data in the backend. And secondly, we also experience the rapid development with applying the methods of agile software development, such like requirement elicitation and usability testing. And we also simplify the decision-making process of the
create a new vote and voting for others' votes to improve the user experience, especially in iOS. We think it's easier for iOS to implement the UI, while in the Android we need more extra work. Especially Android there are different kinds of devices, and we have to keep the consistency between different standards. So now the live demo. Docket? Oh, Docket can. So we first log into we can use our existing account, or you can register from the register function. So for time constraint, I just use the existing account. Login, we can first see our vote list. And if I want to add a new vote, I just click the add vote. And in this screen, I can maybe choose to take a photo. Then I can click that button. Maybe you choose. Yeah, we got a picture. Oh, it's not clear. Then maybe we can choose from our album. Let me find the shoes. Yeah, my shoes. And we had to type in our question, which you prefer. Then click on the post. Then you can see on the top item is our successfully posted vote.
Now I can see Ivan's vote from my iOS device, and I just click the vote, and I can see two pictures, and I can just select the one that I favor, just like this. And this vote is vote success, and here you can see the vote count, that is 1 and 0. And then I come back, and Ivan can check its result.
Then I can use my votes to check the result directly. You can see it cannot clear. You can see the right corner of our picture is the number of votes. Oh.
So you mentioned in the beginning 2 use cases that had to do with helping shopping and fashion advice. Are there elements of the UI that help support those use cases, or are these just things that you could do? In other words, it looks like it's essentially a photo sharing app. Is there anything else to it that helps kind of support these use cases?
Yeah, we first do photo sharing, and other users will vote for the image. Yeah, depend other one's suggestion. Yeah.
Can they leave a comment or something? Can you just vote? Is that the only functionality?
Yeah, currently, but we are implement that function.
Okay, great job. And can I invite Christopher?
Yeah, I use this and zoom it up. Yeah.
Why zoom it?
Yeah.
That's again stool.
Play. Is it in play mode? Is it in play mode? Function if you pressed.
Function?
To present, I think you have to press function on this side. Yeah.
It came.
It came. Oh,
Leave it.
Okay.
We have 3 teams to go, so from now on, can you just skip unnecessary content?
All right. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are Team 12. The application that we have built is called iProtect. So what was the main motivation behind building this application? We all have heard of this crime, identity theft, that exists in the United States. And we can see that statistics show about 15 million victims are affected by this each year, and financial losses of 50 billion. So with these numbers, we do realize that how critical a crime or how critical this is. And through our app, we want to provide a first step towards offering a solution or address this problem. So what is iProtect? iProtect is basically a secure and mobile user and password management application. We have some features listed over here which will take you all through the demo. Some of them are a private master password which the user sets for the application and known only to him. So he can access a lot of details which are stored right in his pocket and wherever he goes, which is easily accessible to him and only him and no one else. Encrypted data storage, so backend, there's a lot of processing happening with the data that's being inputted into the database. And we have password history management. We all know that it's a good practice to change passwords, but who does it, right? We always forget or we have no time to go back and change passwords on a timely basis. So we send reminders to users saying, hey, it's been 3 months up now, it's time you change your password so that your data is more secure. And after that, we have, that's related. So reminders and notifications is related to passwords. And password history management is also another feature we have is we don't let users use the same passwords over and over again because, again, it's not really a good idea to do it. So we encourage users through our application. So we take up the responsibility that actually lies in the hands of the users to protect their data. So that's what we try to address here. And we have another cool feature which generates passwords for the user. Now, most random password generators would have random characters in it, which may not look good or which may be too hard to remember, too hard to type, and things like that. So we have this password generator which generates meaningful passwords like cool app $1 or something like that which you can read or pronounce. And finally, logging into various websites through the application itself. So you unlock the application, and it's a pain sometimes that you have to look at your password and type it in your mobile. And so from the usability factor, through the application itself, we would provide the user a chance to load the website itself, auto-populate all the fields so that he can make things easier for him, basically. Yeah. So the next part would be the context diagram, which Ram would take you all through.
Anything there. Okay. So our context diagram includes just so we know all the mobile users and interact with our application. So everything we have encrypted in the SQLite database, but we have implemented one new third-party library, SQL Cipher, which provides 256-bit AES encryption for all the data that we are going to enter. And so the user application talks to the SQL Server with the key that we are going to provide to the application, which we are not going to store anywhere in the application itself. So the user has to give the key dynamically. So even if user got the access to external SD card, he cannot retrieve the data unless until user has the key. And we have got a web view for the auto population of username and password for the websites. And we have a web service for generating pronounceable passwords that we have integrated with the Google App Cloud Service. Next we have context diagram. Yeah. So this is what our architecture looks like. So we have all our views. So this is for the Android part, and so we have there the Google Cloud Web Service, and this is where we can see SQLite or SQL Cipher implementation. But let's look into the demo action where we can see the real details.
You would have to provide a password that you would remember. So one password to access all your user credential details. So that's easy for everyone, right? To remember one password instead of multiple passwords and multiple logins. And the tendency is such that you keep the same password for all logins so that it's easier to remember, or you just write it down somewhere and someone else reads it, and that's a lot of problems. So, so basically I have installed the application and I have set my master password. So if I want to enter some sort of login details or user credential details, I would have to enter this password. So we see that this is success. The UIs relatively look quite plain right now because it's a utility application and the power lies behind. So obviously this is a list view. So basically a user would enter all his login credentials over here. So if I'm applying for multiple companies in career fairs and I have like so many login profiles for each company, I could like probably save those details here. So I can say Apple and my name, password, and here's a reminder field. So this is like how often do I want to change the password. This is generally in days, but for the purpose of this demo we have implemented this in seconds so that we can show you like what happens in iOS and Android platforms. Let me say 30 seconds, done. So we have this detail here. So obviously this list is going to grow and you're going to have like a lot of things because all of you all have so many login details and so much information to store. So this is something that you can use this app for. And I can have like another company and name. And let me say 5 seconds and done. So you can see how Apple, the color has changed, which eventually applies to Google as well. And then they all turn red. So basically we've used some sort of color coding for the iOS thing to help users identify that, hey, listen, there needs to be something done over here. So the user can go ahead and change his password or something like that. And the second tab is for identity details, where you can either store something like your driver's license, your passport, or SSN. Our third use case is for a document. Now it's cumbersome process for every user to type a lot of details. So if you have something like a medical report that you just want to store some information about, you can say add document. Say for now I'm just taking a picture of my ID and use this. Oops, sorry. So you can have these details stored as well as files. And finally, we have like a reset password where you could go and reset the password if you want to. We have some additional features that were implemented on the iOS platform that we would like to share.
2 minutes. Whatever the my colleagues have explained you all the features, we haven't going to cheat you guys. All that has been implemented, like reminders, password change, all the notification stuff. All it's like if you have a girlfriend or boyfriend, you want to take the photos, and it's like done. And you have 1 minute at least. I mean,
just 30 seconds.
I mean, it's like that's what this is how it looks in I mean in Android stuff.
Already entered.
So it's like completely secured. If you get a call also, application itself closed by itself. It's like if you give a mobile to someone while calling and you have an open application, the other user cannot access the application again. It will be closed. Whenever there's new activity open, it will be closed by itself. It's like we are not storing the password in preference, files or anywhere. It's only going to be a database. And moreover, it's encryption technology is 256-bit encryption technology. And more importantly, we are not going to store the password itself. It's a kind of magic kind of stuff. I won't say it's magic. There's a technology behind that. It just authenticate yourself. It's UR. So it's like we have. So it's like if you have a Facebook, like I have details, I have stored my details. I don't need to open Facebook and load details. I have open URL here. If I click open URL, that's a backend, there's a JavaScript running. It will take your database, password and username from your database and pre-populate it for you. So it's like nowhere, so no one can see your password and you only know the password. You can directly go and log in. It will directly load your Facebook details.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, sorry for this slight delay.
Team 14, thank you so much. Can you guys finish in 7 minutes?
Just hold it like right. You don't need to put it up by your mouth.
We can finish within 1:30. We have 2 teams to go. 7 minutes I will give you, please.
Yeah. Your resolution's too high, that's fine.
For today's attendance check, he's going to post something on the app. Code is Judgy. Attendance code is Judgy. What? Judgy. J-U-D-G-E. Judgy. Code name is Judgy. So, Eric is making right now, so go ahead and post on the app, please.
Not detecting displays.
Judgy. J-U-D-G-E.
Does anyone know how to get these to detect displays? It's not detecting the monitor.
I think this should be work. This should work. So I'm going to change another. Or 800 or 600. Oh, yeah. Oh, there we go. Hello everyone, we're Team 14 and our product is named Lazy Recipe. And this is the agenda of today's presentation. And now I'll give an overview of our product. And our product is called Lazy Recipe because we can make your life simpler. Sometimes you open your refrigerator and you don't know what to cook, or you don't want to leave your front door to get new ingredients. And our product allows you to search for recipes using the ingredients you have. And this is the UI for our product. And now I will introduce some key features of our product. And we allows you to set a predefined list, which will add to search keywords every time you search for a recipe. And also, we allows you to search for a recipe using ingredients. And you can simply search a recipe using recipe name. And
Can you go back, jump to the technology challenges? Technology challenges. What kind of API you are using?
We'll introduce after this. So this is set predefined ingredients, and you can search by recipe name and also categories, and also you can search by ingredients. And this is the general information about this recipe, and you can go into the web view of this recipe to see the specific detailed information about this recipe. And also you can add the recipe to bookmarks, and this is the histories of your searching results. And I'll let Xiaonan introduce some realizations of our product.
Okay, I'll talk about the architecture. So this is the iOS control flow. It's a little bit complex, so we skip, and we use the MVC model design for each user case. We recipe search, ingredient search, and present list view. We combine these three views into a controller, and the controller will process the request by the users and give the result to the search and the field manager. It will send the request to the Yamli API. This is the main API we used for our recipe application, and we parse the result back into the controller and give the result to the user. In this process, we will also communicate with the database for some result to save there or get some tuples. So we skip all this part to leave more time for our demo. So could I? Yeah.
They are using Yummy API, which feeds all the recipe information in the backend.
Yeah.
Here is our demo. First we have three main features: my ingredients, my recipe, and the predefined. So for this one, you could search by the recipe name and different categories. For the time being, so I want to let you see this. This is a bookmark, so you can see that there are not any bookmarks or histories. In the predefined list, we could predefine some things like the button or a beef or chicken, something like that. We can to track the user's refrigerators that the ingredients has already have, and we can save that. So that for this my ingredient part, it will contain the predefined list. And then we could also add something new into the ingredients. For this one, we could search by the ingredients and just click on search, and we could also replace the pre-ingredients if we want to add some more. So it will show the results. And for this result, we have filtered it by the match degree, and we could see that this is a 100% match. It means that we could only use the beef, cheese, and bacon to cook this kind of stew. So this is really amazing. So we could also add it into the bookmark and to see the detailed instructions. It is maybe a little slow. So here is the main details, and we use the web view to restrict the user to redirect to some new other new things. So for this one, we could say that the bookmarks has already installed the bookmark that we had added before, as well as the history. So that's all. For the more details, you can see our demo, which will be posted on the YouTube. There are any other features, but because of time issue, we don't have the time to demo it. Thank you.
So all the recipes are feeding from the web service, which is called the Yummy API. So they are just retrieving all the information, and they add a search function on top of it. Do you have any questions?
Yummy allows you to match the ingredients to their recipe.
Yeah, right. It is really cool. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And last please. Last. Thank you so much for remaining until the end. And this is our last class. And all the homeworks and project assignments already posted. So please submit on time, especially the deliverable. You can extend until Monday. So Monday night you can
speaking?
all the deliverables you want to archive and then upload to the blog. Homework 4, due date
Here, I'll copy
Tuesday,
that.
12 o'clock. So you can submit all the information, all the evaluation about 14 teams project. So I'm gonna
Here, you just want to clip that to you, I'll get it.
in my channel, the 087384. So you can just subscribe my channel, then you can easily hook up all the teams. You like Thank you for attending and taking this time. Thanks a lot. You guys.
放上。So, how everyone, we are Team 16 and we're going to talk about our application Planet. This is our topic we're going to cover today, and skip that. So this is our product overview. Our target customer are the people who want to join different events and plan those events and have fun. And we can create our own event and browse the public event and invite our friends to join the events. So this is why our name come from, the app names come from. And let's check out the architecture of our application. We use MVP structure to make the app, and we use Eventful API to achieve the public event. This is our key feature. We have the calendar and event list. We can create our own event and search and add the public event. We can add the user as our friends and invite them to those events. So the lesson learned, we talk about the Android platform because in this part we made a lot of problems. We have first choose a proper platform because Android have a variety of devices and each have different screen size and resolution. And second, we have to learn how to set up the environment for Android development. Use the Android SDK in Eclipse, and we utilize the layout for formatting. And last, we learn how to testing in the emulator. And yeah, that's it. Because we have to skip to our demo. Thank you.
Okay, so here, this is our app, Planet, and first we can register as a new user. Now let's log in as Annie, and we can see the main page, which is a calendar page. And now they are not clickable because Annie don't have any events till now. And red means today. We can add events. We can add the public event, which is from Eventful, and just choose one. We can see the details and add to my event. And we can invite friend. I forgot to add friend first. these are the users we have already created, and we can add an event to and invite friends. So I can see those friends I have just added and click invite. And now those invitations will bump into the inbox of those friends' account. So I'll log in as one of the friends and see the inbox. There's the event. Annie just sent to me. And the inbox is cleared. And now we can see the green one, which means you have an event for that day. And click the event, we can see the details. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do you have any questions? All the team projects looks awesome, so why don't you guys apply regular students for tonight? The 8 o'clock is the due time. So until 8 o'clock is the end of the day. Why don't you guys apply WWD? It's just scholarship. So there's